there, Dr. Gary here on the road. We sell dental practices nationwide. Today's topic is when selling a dental practice, performance payout not acceptable. We'll get into what's going on there. So as you know, we're in multiple states now selling dental practices nationwide. We have 10 employees, and we're available to you 363 days a year. We take off Christmas and Easter. Our hours are 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day. Phone number is 201-663-0935. And our website is nationwidedentalpracticebrokers.com or dentalpracticeguide.com. So anyway, let's get into this of what we're talking about today in a moment. Now, everything you're about to hear is for entertainment purposes. It's not legal or business advice. Okay? Also, if you're thinking about selling to a DSO, and you're doing about 1.8 million or higher, 6 operatories or more, doctor and associate willing to stay on, that's what they're looking for. Everything's changed in DSO world. Those wild numbers in 21 and 22, they're gone. You're not seeing them anymore. So those days are over due to increased interest rate, and interest rate just went up again. This is July or August of 23. They just went up again on Wednesday. So it's getting tighter and tighter. We know who the best ones are. Certain DSOs have fallen to the wayside. There's certain mergers going on, but we know who the best of the best are. And they will often pay our commission. So there's, based on criteria, there's no commission to you. And when you work with myself and my team, I have 13 years experience doing this, 25 years as a dentist. When you work with my team, we will get your legal fees based on certain criteria. We're going to get your legal fees reimbursed upon successful closing. So call us. We'll talk to you about it, how that works. Okay, so what do we have? This just happened today. Again, we're not fancy studios. I winged these out in my car. I just came off the beach, just wrote a long email to one of the accountants that had this issue that they wanted to discuss. And the issue was, we are touting that we have a great dental practice. So we have a buyer put a letter of intent and so forth. It's going to get approved from the bank. The buyer feels he's overpaying for the practice, even though he's put his offer in already. So the buyer is trying to negotiate the price down because he says his accountant doesn't like the cash flow situation. They're not going to make as much money as they thought. Maybe the buyer should stay as an associate. Ridiculous. He stays an associate. You have no associate. You have no future, no guarantee. You can't write off anything. Ridiculous. If you get hurt, then what do? Your income goes to zero. You got to work 30, 60 days for disability payments. Whereas if you had your practice, you call your friends over the weekend, they'll work the practice within 24 hours. So the accountant proposes to do a performance payment of some of the monies owed to the seller. That is, if the practice does well, they'll pay out, maybe pay out a little bit more. They call it a win-win situation. No, not happening. The answer is no, we're not doing that. First of all, we have a significant number of other buyers, even paid more money, that wanted to buy the practice. But we always stick with the first buyer that put the letter of intent in. We don't play that game shopping the deal. But anybody else interested, we put them in a second position and we say, hey, if the first one drops out, we're going to put you in there, but we don't want to start shopping a deal for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $20,000, $30,000 more. So they came up with this proposal. They don't want to pay us. Me, I'm the broker that's the seller. We don't want to pay everything up front. We want to hold back some money. That can happen in DSO sales, but they're paying full gross plus more, at closing. And they will hold back something. I understand that it doesn't work for private deals. And the reason why it doesn't work is, first of all, is my understanding, that's called fee splitting, because you're basing pay on the amount of performance. So it's called fee splitting. They don't allow it. The attorneys I know on the East Coast tell me you can't do that because it's considered fee splitting and not allowed. It does happen in DSOs. How they do it, I don't know. But in private, I've rarely, if ever, seen it done. I can't even remember once doing it. Maybe it happens on rare occasions. I didn't get exposed in 13 years and hundreds of transactions. But they think, oh no, we want to hold back money. No, that's not happening. You don't do that. These are the reasons why. The sellers can't, they know the practice is going to be successful. How do they know? Well, one of the largest banks in the United States says it's 99.75% success rate. Never had a failure. Another large bank in 2022 did 1.3 billion, I think, and less than 5 loans went south, went bad. So the statistics are there. Moreover, banks loan 100% of the agreed upon price. 100%. Why would banks take a risk if they thought it was a high risk profession? It's not. So the statistics are behind us. So we're not taking any risk. Besides, we have buyers waiting in the wings at full price. We'll just go to them. All right. And why? Repeating, we don't go to them right now because we don't shop deals. As a broker, we stick with the first buyer. We're honorable to the first buyer. And if the first buyer drops out, we have the second buyer ready to go. We're not going to push out the first buyer. But we don't do this. We don't hold back money, and we don't do it based on performance. That's what the story is. You don't do it. I've explained to you why you don't do it. And dentistry is a very successful career. He will do well. You can't put my sellers in a position that it may not work out for them because the buyer could get disabled. How do we know? The buyer could go skiing, hit his head on a tree limb, and he's not the same buyer anymore. Well, it's sad that happens, but you can't put that onus on the sellers. The buyer didn't perform because the seller wasn't available to work. Or what happens? Well, he could get into a divorce situation that the buyer takes off. Just leaves the country, leaves all his debt behind. We had one guy, he went to a European country, got up and left. That's it. Never came back. Bank called me to try to liquidate everything. The bank's stuck with that money. So you don't know what the buyer's going to do. So you can't put that on the seller and base the seller's income on the performance of the buyer. So that's the answer to that. Don't fall into that trap. Sometimes, although sellers will sometimes hold some paper, but it's not based on performance. It's a note. All right? It's a note that's owed. It's a debt that's owed, regardless of the situation. Thank you for listening. Now, we're getting new practices for sale constantly. So all you have to do is sign up for the email blast. I think we're at 889 now, somewhere around there, of doctors that get it. And that's about every 4 to 6 weeks. Just sign a non-disclosure agreement. We'll send it to you. And then call us. We answer the phone constantly. I was on the phone this afternoon, just now. So get that. And then we try to give you cutting-edge stuff. We do apologize. This is not some polished video that we do takes and retakes. Frankly, we just don't have time for it. We're working all the time. And I know this isn't the greatest studio here. It's in the car, but I don't know what to tell you. We're trying to give you information that we hope is very valuable to you and happened today. The information we give you is from the street. This is what's going on today. This isn't 6 months old. I'm in some fancy studio with a suit. I just don't have time for that. We want to write a book one day and some articles, but everything's changing so fast. Interest rates are changing. Valuations are changing. I don't have time for books. We'll just try to do these videos so you get cutting-edge information. So we're on it. And as brokers, this is what we do. We are all over our deals. It's 24/7. You can't wait until Monday morning. Things are breaking fast. You got to be on it. We enjoy what we do. We find it very rewarding. Young doctor is getting his career together. Senior doctor is heading off into the sunset, and everybody's happy. All right, call us. We're there. We got your back 24/7. Thank you. Bye now.